thank you for coming. As Jonathan said, this is a new thing that we're looking to do, Leopold and I. It's our humble proof of concept, if I may. And with a proof of concept, there always has to be the people, you, to participate in this. So thank you all for coming. As you saw in the video, we were talking about being on autopilot. And let's admit that sometimes that's the easiest way to be, isn't it? But tonight, you're going to see how autopilot from low-res thinking, we're going to convert that to high-res thinking in a form of a wonderful debate. Now, Leopold is going to be moderating the debate this evening, but I want to give you a little bit of a run of the agenda, and just so you know what's going to be happening. Has anyone actually been to a debate before? Put your hands up, anyone? Yep, so usually you have it at universities, very old school, and you have a motion, and it's for and against, and it's all very proper and very traditional. But today we want to make it a little bit more fun for the design community, because what else? You know, we have to do things differently, don't we? And it's going to be high tempo. So let me give you a little bit of a rundown so you kind of understand what's to come. Okay, so Leopold is going to introduce the motion, and he's going to introduce the debaters. There's going to be two teams, one team for the motion and one for the against the motion. And as we all know, the motion is AI will lead design. Welcome. Is that Khalid? And then after the debaters come on stage, they're going to be making their opening statements. So they're going to be making their argument of why AI would be leading design and why it shouldn't be. So they will have 4 minutes to present their argument to you. But there's one thing I forgot, because we want the audience to be involved here. Before they make their opening statements, we're going to have a live vote. And all of you are going to vote because you may already have an opinion, right? So we're going to see where your opinion lies, where it's for and against. Then you'll hear the opening statements. Then we'll have, after the opening statements, we'll have a little bit of time for crossfire, where Leopold will be moderating the conversation, and each side will be having rebuttals and kind of counter-arguing each other's arguments. Then we really want you to get involved. This is where we're going to have live Q&A, and anyone that would like to ask a question will be able to come up and ask it live, and the debaters will answer them. Now, you have noticed that there are some emoji paddles on your seat, okay? Because it's not just during the live voting that we want you to participate. We actually want you to participate also during the event. This is a safe space for respectable disagreement, okay? So I want everyone to feel very comfortable with the fact that they can say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree. Okay, so please use it as you wish throughout the event. Then we have the knockout. So convince me in 60 seconds. So each debater, again, will then do what they can in 60 seconds to convince you, okay? And then you'll have a vote, an opportunity to vote again at the end, a live vote, and then we'll see who is the winning side. And then, of course, right at the end, I would love all of you to vote on what could be the next theme for the next debate. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over the theatre experience, to Leopold. So, a round of applause for Leopold.
Thank you. Excited? Terrified? Who's terrified? I'm excited and terrified, not from the stage, but from the future, right? And it's, I don't know, I've been thinking about this, because every time we look ahead to the future, we have to ask, what's at stake? Right? Do you feel that? Yeah? And so you start asking, okay, now we're talking about AI and design. What's at stake? What's at stake for you, for your jobs, for your skills, for your judgment? Do you think about that? Yeah? But also, what's at stake for our speakers? We have speakers coming here not just to argue, but to stand for something. Now, what's at stake? To answer that, I want to invite you back in time, 2,000 years ago, right? To the land of Aristotle, Greece. So Aristotle, the philosopher, he came up with a blueprint for persuasion. And he said, every time you want to move people to your direction, you want to persuade, you want to influence people, you need three things: logos, pathos, ethos. Who knows what's logos? Logic, yeah. Every time you want to persuade someone, you have to have a logical, sound argument. You have to be rational. Pathos, who knows what's pathos? Emotions, but actually, and this is the genius of Aristotle, he meant more than just emotions. He said, you want to be able to understand the audience's emotion and then pull them back to you, right? So that's the idea. We think about it now as empathy or emotional intelligence. What about, so logic, emotions, ethos. Who knows what's ethos? Ethical. Yeah, I like that. So most people would say credibility, right? So you have to have a credibility as a speaker, as a communicator, which is not 100% accurate. It's a little bit like ethics, but what he really means is something fascinating that will be inspiring for, I think it's going to give us a great insight for today's debate. He meant by ethos, your moral character. So when a speaker comes on stage, whether you know it or not, you're going to be absorbing his or her moral character. And again, by that, we mean the integration of your values, of your ideas, of your actions, of your all of these are embodied in your character, in your moral character. Now again, and I want you to see the tension here. Look what's happening. When we're talking about moral character, we're talking about values. Big question. Can AI have values? Can any non-living entity pursue values? Can there be anything moral without mortality? Can you have a character without choices? And therefore, can you have a moral character without being responsible for your actions and the consequences of your actions? All of these are big questions that I think will help us understand better this debate. And so, tonight for me is more than a debate, honestly. It's a celebration of moral characters. So first, I want to celebrate the speakers because they put so much work in coming here and preparing for this debate. And it takes a lot of courage to stand on stage and not just argue, but be willing that they're going to be criticized and, there's disagreement and tension. So that's worth celebration, right? But also I want to celebrate you for choosing to come in here, for willing to wrestle and grapple with ideas. I also think this takes a lot of courage. So I want to say thank you and welcome to the Pixel Debate. Thank you. All right, now allow me to introduce you to our speakers. I'm going to read a short bio about each one. So we're going to start with the four, starting with Jay. So Jay Tulloch. Jay heads up product design for platforms at Careem, where he's shaping the future of super app experiences across the region. With 15 years of experience at the intersection of design, AI, and product strategy across super apps, fintech, automotive, travel tech, and digital transformation. He's a vocal advocate of how AI won't just assist design, but will lead it. Expect a bold perspective on what's coming next. Please welcome Jay Tulloch. Hey. Now, for the against, we have Mila Cruz. Mila brings 14 years of design leadership experience to her role as head of interaction and visual design at Emirates MBD. where she leads digital innovation through design systems and product strategy. Combining psychology, fine arts, and a passion for technology, she tracks personal health and tests emerging technology. As a strong advocate for human-centered design, Mila argues that while AI has its place, creative design leadership must remain in human hands. Please welcome Mila. And now back to the four. We have Tim Daines. Tim has 20 years of experience in AI and data product leadership. Tim transforms complex systems into innovative solutions across healthcare, edtech, and government sectors. Leading teams from startup to Fortune 500 companies, he champions AI as an enhancer of human intelligence, not a replacement. As UX Director and Chief Product Officer, he's collaborated with AWS, BP, NHS, while developing AI product design training programs. Outside his work, this is interesting, at AI Agentic Systems, Tim pursues gourmet cake making. Who'd like some? Pop-up restaurants, CrossFit, and diving. Please welcome Tim Daines. And lastly, we have Angélique Alexandre. That's a beautiful name, right? Angélique is a principal product designer with 15 years of experience in neuroscience, human behavior, and tech innovation. At Google London, she spent 5 years developing AI projects for billions of users. Her expertise spans commerce, gaming, real estate, and health tech, working with both startup and enterprises. Now at AI 71 in the UAE, she helps government and enterprises implement AI solutions that address real human and business challenges. Outside work, she advocates for neurodiversity, creates art, and participates in Spartan races. Please welcome Angélique Alexandre. All right, so before we start the debate, we will put a poll and we would like to have your opinion first on the motion, which is whether AI will lead design. So all you have to do is scan the code. Jay, can I ask you to just move a bit so they see the, yeah. And just vote whether you are for the motion that AI will lead design or against. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. You're winning so far.
Already? I don't think we need to give a talk.
Yeah.
It's done. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
All right, and then we'll move to the second question, which is, are you open to changing your vote this evening? Yes or no? Ooh, you deserve a hand of applause. 3% no. Oh, I like that. I'm curious. Okay, so as Natalie said, each speaker will have 4 minutes to have their opening statements. Are you ready? So let the debate begin. We're going to start with Jay.
I'm the lucky one. First of all, thank you to Natalie and Leopold for putting this together and having us now. AI will lead design. Now, that's not a threat, that's a promise. And I was going to start this talk by speaking about the Industrial Revolution, the internet, the print press, but the matter of the fact is, all of that stuff is irrelevant, because never before in history have we seen a technological shift as rapid and exponential in growing as this one. If we talk about what it means to actually lead design, let's think about it. Is it collaborating with cross-functional partners, engineers, product managers? Is it deciding what goes where in an interface? Designing something aesthetically pleasing? AI can do all of that today, right now. As we speak, there are people using these tools. And if you think about designers and how designers are actually using AI today, we're using it to critique our work. Fund Capital recently did a study with 400 designers from the top design orgs across the world. Over 25% of them said that they use AI to judge their designs. Nearly 70% of them are trusting AI for research insights as well. So we're already at a stage today where we're trusting AI enough to do a lot of the heavy lifting and to lead us and guide us in terms of where our work is going. We're trusting their judgment in terms of how good is the quality of my design right now, and how can they improve it for us? And that's the state of play today. And I want to wrap that even further with a quote from OpenAI CPO, Kevin Brill, and he was on a podcast recently, and he said that the version of AI that we use today is the worst version we will ever use in our lifetime. The AI that you're using right now is the worst version that it will ever be. So what does that mean for next year and the year after that and beyond? So when we talk about leading, today, AI is capable of doing all of the things. A study said that 60% of our design process can be done with AI right now. We're using tools like Replit. With a single prompt, you can go from 0 to 1, have a product fully working in the hands of your customer. No product manager, no engineer, and definitely no designer required. That is now. That's happening right now. So if you want to embrace this shift, we need to step away from craft. It's very clear that the trajectory that AI is on, the direction that we're moving in, they're becoming executors. They're faster, they can scale further than we can, and they're way more cost-effective than we are. So let's let go of craft, and let's level ourselves up. Start to become visionaries. Start to be creative directors. Let's steer the narrative. Move into roles that are closer to creative product managers than IC designers. Because if we truly believe that AI is an assistant to us right now, then we should also believe that one day it will lead the execution. So make that shift today. And I want to have a call to action for everyone right here, right now. Start making those moves to really lean into the AI tools that you have available. Start making that shift into the future, because we're already trusting AI to lead us. And if you wait until next year, it might be too late. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. Now we'll move to the against with Mila.
Yes. Thank you, Jay. Hello, everyone. Within the next 4 minutes, I will prove you why Jay was completely wrong. I will use 3 examples of a Velcro, an Apple, and www that proves that there is no way AI would be able to achieve what we can currently do. We have one major advantage over that technology, and it cannot be replicated. So let's set the stage on what is design. It's a creative process of solving a problem with emotional sensitivity, with nuance, with innovation, with potentially a random accident that inspired you to do something different than it was done before. What is AI? It's a computing power that allows you to monitor data that was already fed into it, a large portion of patterns that's already been invented and probably used many, many, many times over. We are using some statistics to produce new combinations, but nothing is original. Nothing is original. So AI is good at iterating, but not ideating. And why? Because as humans, we can combine different concepts from different industries. A happy accident can lead us to a discovery. I want to recall one man, his name is Percy Spencer. In 1945, I assume he was a chubby scientist. He was working on a radar. And as he was coming up to his work every day, he noticed that around the same area of his radar technology, the chocolate in his pocket was melting. And this is how he discovered microwave oven. That invention would have never happened if AI was to lead the design of it, because it was sitting on that technology for a long time, not doing anything about it. Same with www. The technology was there. And it only took a single engineer who was bored out of his mind to be like, hey, I really cannot be doing this job ever again. So he was frustrated. He had to come up with a better way of doing his job. So AI cannot get frustrated, cannot get tired, cannot combine concepts from different industries. It doesn't get inspired by emotion. So for us as designer, we have one single advantage over AI. We are unique and we can create new things from something that was never done before. And it's like when you have a developer, he's a smart guy. He can code a lot, and he knows patterns, solutions, he knows his maths. But every time he needs to solve a problem and he needs to be creative, he has this hard time coming up with something that was never done before. And this is our AI. He's smart. He can really speed up the process. But can he create something unique? Something that was never done before. And for this, we need designers, we need creative directors, we need people who combine things from different elements of their experience to make something that was never done before. My time's out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know about you, but I already have tons of questions.
Yeah, I
So
was
I'm
writing them down
burning.
myself as well.
All right, so let's move to Tim.
Thank you. Thank you, Mila. So, AI. It now produces millions of visual designs in seconds compared to a designer that takes them a year to do that. And all I hear is this argument that that's going to destroy creativity and emotion. No. It's actually going to remove the friction that us designers create with creativity, and it's going to help us evolve design. That's why tonight I am affirming the motion that AI is going to lead design. Not because it's going to replace creativity, but because it's going to remove the burden that us designers create for ourselves. Duplicated design, pixel-perfect procrastination, creating too many tasks to slow the momentum of designing for our users. And let's just touch on empathy. It's not going to erode any kind of empathy at all, AI. It's actually going to give us designers time back to have clarity about what really matters so that we can spend time with our users to look at judgment, taste, empathy itself, and, wow, that looks really cool. And let's just finish off with AI doesn't have any critical judgment. Well, now we've got agents, and you can load the cognitive memory of a developer and a designer into its brain. And it does a far damn sight better job than us because it doesn't throw emotional paddies. But we've been here before. History repeats itself. It's 1800s. The portrait painters and the paintbrush are at threat from a technology leading them. It's called the camera. And they're in fear with the same arguments today. Creativity gone, empathy gone. No. The camera actually framed the picture. The artist then brought the emotion. Born is the photographer. Born is new imagery, new artwork, modernism. And so now we are at a stage where actually we have AI isn't just assisting us, it's actually leading us, and we can learn from that. And as Jay was mentioning, we now see reports coming out from McKinsey that say 60% of time in the early stage of ideation can actually happen with AI. That's thousands of ideas whilst the designer's still finishing off Sketch 3. And that gives us opportunity to now take a step back and go, well, I can now critically think and problem solve with my user, because that's what I complain the most about, because I don't get the time. But it also allows me to go, well, do we need that workflow? Do we need that click? Do we need this designer tool? And I can spend more time problem solving with my user. And I've seen this transformation challenge before. The designer feared the MacBook, the magazine industry. Oh, it's all over, thanks, Steve. No, it wasn't. Within a year, desktop publishing completely revolutionized the magazine industry. And we saw large profits for those companies that, oh, thanks, Steve. And that leaves us now with, actually, where does that leave AI with design? Well, you know, it is going to change the role of design. But that doesn't mean to say that that doesn't give us opportunity. In actual fact, it helps us to expand our mind and scale our vision to actually define what does that new design evolution need to look like. And so tonight, I encourage you to vote pro, to think beyond the clicks, where AI leads. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. All right, are you ready, Angelique?
Amazing, yes. Can you hear me? Is it working? Okay. All right. What if I were to tell you that companies led by design outperform the stock market average by 200%? This is the power of design leadership, and I therefore affirm that design will and must lead this AI revolution. There was a recent report by the Gartner that highlights that 80% of AI projects fail. And the number one reason is because they lack the design leadership within the development process. So they lack that within the development process. Sorry, I was the last one that said we needed notes. So us as designers contribute a vital role within this development process. You know, we bring things like the ethics, the user contextual understanding, user validation, etc., just to name a few, all of which cannot be replicated by AI alone. We've seen, you know, when the human-centered design is neglected within the development process, we see devastating results with companies, you know, bad on their ROI. And some examples are, you know, these big tech giants and large real estate firms that have lost hundreds and millions of dollars, having to scrap their entire sophisticated AI systems because it didn't quite get the context, you know, leaving bad reputation on all of them. We know so many cases where there's so many biases within AI, leading to so much discrimination. So I love this quote by Don Norman, the design visionary. And he says that, you know, technology promises us heaven, but too often delivers an automated hell. Now, don't get me wrong, the outputs of AI are undeniably impressive, but outputs without purpose are merely tech novelties. Now, we've seen amazing, you know, when AI and humans come together, we've seen amazing things happen. There's examples within health tech that we could look at, where designers are meticulously designing these solutions and experiences to truly help patients through their journey of healing. freeing up clinicians to take on more pressing matters. So it is working in that sense when we work together and is led by design. We see inspiring companies like Colgate that are not replacing their research teams, but augmenting them with AI to boost their creativity and enhance their skill set. So, you may say to me, yes, Ange, but that's AI of today has these issues and these biases. And like Tim said, what we know today is not going to be the AI of tomorrow. But we also hear, oh, designers are going to be made obsolete. And to that I say, think again. The more powerful these tools get, the more essential design leadership becomes. And if we truly want to see a future that is fundamentally human at its core and realizes our highest aspirations, then I must ask you, who else but design could lead the way? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm actually tempted to hear from you, but I'll go for the questions. I have a question for all of you. And I'm thinking about it while you're speaking. It's like, I don't know if you would agree to that, but if you think about it, for many, many years, we've been living under something that I would call like the psychology of dependency. We're always, as a human being, dependent on other people, on their opinion, on, sometimes on governments, on ideologies. And this is not a good idea. But sometimes I feel that we're moving from that state to the technology of dependency. So what would you say about that? Like, are we designing a machine to make us more dependent or not?
I don't think we're designing a machine with that intent, but I believe that's effectively where the machine is going to lead us. We're already using AI as an assistant, right? It's a buddy that is by our side, that is helping us to kind of sharpen up kind of our kind of designs, our output, etc. But eventually it's going to get so good. And as I mentioned in the talk, this is how we're using it today. Like, it's accelerating at such a kind of fast pace. Every 2 months is a new version being released. It will get even faster in the future. So if you kind of speed up a few years, we are going to be heavily kind of dependent, and it won't be by choice, right? AI is going to get much better at craft. Its design decisions are going to become much sharper because it will be learning from us. It's going to become way more intelligent. It will be able to learn by itself and learn from other systems that it's connected with as well. So if you take all of that together, it's only a matter of time before we become forcefully dependent on the machine. And that's why I was saying that we need to elevate ourselves up into kind of more kind of visionary kind of positions where we can still be in some control.
I had so many thoughts while you were talking. And I think with AI, it has to be our co-intelligence. I think that's when the magic happens, when we see it as a co-intelligence, not it leading us. And, I still believe we will be leading it because it needs that kind of guidance on what problem we need to solve. I think that, it enhances our skills, but it shouldn't take away the judgment. I think we are there for it. And yes, we become dependent. I think we're all very excited by it. I think there's huge hype. Everybody wants to use it. But I think a lot of people can agree that we are spending a lot of time and then still having to go back and do what we need to do because it doesn't quite get it. So I think we will, learn to grow with it and become maybe a little less, seeing it as a threat and more like a co-intelligence.
You want to say something?
I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I look at it, it's a technology like a car. It doesn't mean, yes, I'm dependent on my car. I cannot function without it. I am heavily dependent on it. But look where it takes me. Look how much further I can go. The experiences I can have. It's a tool. Am I dependent? Yes. When my battery runs out, oh my God, it's a panic mode. I am dependent, but ultimately it's a net plus, and it's significant net plus. When when we learn how to drive, it's not that we became dependent on our car. We just opened our horizons. And I think that's what's going to happen with that technology. It's just a tool for us to get better, faster.
Tim, you want to say something here?
Yeah. I do. I look at it as I look at it as sort of like the bigger, wider problem in companies at the moment today is that every single one of them has a common theme running through them, and that's knowledge bleed. People leave companies and they take knowledge with them, and that hurts a company. So having AI as a tool which allows us to load it with knowledge, to remember what we did before, prevents that bleed. But also it releases a new commodity within a business, which is I can now educate new people who can come in and learn from, well, what happened before. For anyone who's probably gone into a new job, you've got to either, you're lucky enough to be shadowing with the person who's leaving, but if not, oh, there it is, go learn it for yourself. AI brings this opportunity of closing that gap and actually starting to generate something that I call repeatable expertise. You don't have to rely on going and get the human anymore. It's captured all these memories, and you can go and ask it a question through a prompt. And over time, that knowledge will start to become a very high quality commodity.
Okay, you know what? I feel this tension, at least in my mind. Like from one side, yes, we need to have more efficiency, optimization, all of that. From the other side, we're saying, well, we're human beings. We have to rely on our intuition, and it's great to be a human being. But then, wait a minute, humans, and people might say that, humans have so many biases, they make errors, they're not moral all the time, and we've seen it throughout history. And if humans are leading the machine, what's going to happen? It's going to be, we're going to be dependent on who is the person designing that AI, what is it feeding it, and the subjectivity of their values, right?
Isn't that the trade-off of every new technology? Isn't that the trade-off of every time we introduced a major groundbreaking technology that we were like, it can be used in the wrong ways? We've discovered how to produce bacteria, to grow cheese, and to have a delicious meal every day. But we also learned how to grow bacteria to kill millions of people. We learned how to create www so we can communicate, so we can keep closer relationships between humans, so we can help people across the globe at the risk of someone creating malware. There is always a trade-off, but we have to believe that as humanity, there is more good than there is bad. Same with nuclear power. Do you know how much of nuclear power supports life? Significantly more than it destroys. So it's really in our hand, in the leadership and how we use it, and the morals of the people in education, that it is significant power, but how we use it, it's up to us. And I think the historic evidence is that ultimately, so far, the technology has been rather positive than negative, with small errors when we destroy too much rainforest.
So you're optimistic that...
Very optimistic.
What about
so
you?
AI is leading them.
Huh? Yeah.
No, humans leading the AI.
So you're optimistic that actually humans are by nature more benevolent and good?
Correct.
There are some bad people and some bad decisions, but what would you say here? Or does AI have a superpower that will overcome in a certain way?
I mean, one of my concerns that come out of humans leading AI is that actually at the moment it's all driven by the data. What garbage in, garbage out. So for me, what I don't see at the moment is where are the data police? Where are those people to manage what the humans are putting into the AI? Because we have natural data that is going into ChatGPT, which is produced by humans, but we're not tagging that. And so you stick that into ChatGPT, and then that's creating synthetic data. But how do you know what data comes out, what did the human touch, what did the machine touch. So we need to have some guardrails built in here where actually, AI can actually define that. And actually, if you set those guardrails up and it goes, well, that's allowed, that's not allowed. And therefore, it steers us in this right direction where we don't get to those unintended consequences.
Jay, what do you think?
I'm having a very tough time with this because I feel like the main focus is AI's capability in today's world. And I think Anjali kind of mentioned that everyone's kind of jumping onto the hype and kind of presuming that we're kind of overhyping kind of AI, whereas I think actually AI is being underhyped. We're not looking forward enough. Even like Sam Altman, kind of Mo Gawdat, kind of former kind of CXO at Google, they're all planning about like how can we actually put these guardrails in place? How can we actually prevent the AI from kind of going too far, right? Because they have genuine concerns about where the technology can take us. Like we're nowhere near the peak advancement of this technology. Like once they are at a level of intelligence where they can start to communicate with one another and form their own languages, etc., which has been tested and there has been proof that that is a possibility, then where do we go? We've lost control completely. So I understand that, yes, whilst under human control, we do have some sort of guardrails that we could put in place to kind of slow things down, but that's all we're doing is slowing things down, right? So I think we need to look more forward, more ahead at where this technology could actually go and what measures we need to take in place to prevent it from getting there, but what happens if it does get there? Like what world are we going to be living in and how do we prepare ourselves for that?
By the way, I hope you're thinking about your questions. We still have a couple of minutes and then we'll move to you. You want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to say about everybody's on the hype of AI. Of course we must be. It is super exciting and what we can do is like, and it's amazing. But what I meant is I'm just seeing so many, the excitement is just like spraying and praying the technology everywhere and hoping to find a problem, where I think it should be the other way around. We should be, as designers, we're trained to look for the problem and then find ways for the solution. So I think a lot is going to waste with all these teams just pushing agentic workflows, everything. Find use cases is what I hear all the time. So I agree. I think more needs to be done on that like kind of future aspect. It is super scary and I think we need more ethical frameworks. But I do believe that humans need to stay in control. I mean, if the machines are in control, somebody puts something small into that system and everybody with brown hair is gone. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
All right. I have a question on mastery. So if you think about it, we've spent years, hundreds of years as designers mastering the craft, the execution, the process. How does that look like in a world of AI for both sides, whether AI is leading or design is leading? Because I still need some clarity on what do we mean by leading, right? And what is how do we achieve mastery in that new world? So let's start with you, Tim or Jay.
Like I said, I see leading in the realms of execution. We already know what AI can do currently, and it can do some awesome things, right? Like it's actually delivering results for businesses as we speak, right? So we know that it can do that. So from an execution standpoint, 100% in the future is going to lead. Now, where can we achieve mastery as designers? We need to elevate ourselves up. We need to get stronger at storytelling. We need to get stronger at business and driving business outcomes. Going back to that kind of old adage of kind of having a seat at the table, right? Like get better at business, get better at storytelling, creating narratives. But in the future, as we can all see it, is going to be shifting around being a prompt engineer, right? So really understanding how to prompt, like how to get the most out of this system. And when AI is going to be leading on execution, like there's an uncomfortable truth that there's going to be fewer people required, right? Businesses will see into that. They're already starting to see into that. They're already starting to invest in AI tools who can execute. And like I said, in the future, it's going to be way better. So we need to elevate ourselves now, start learning new skills, start building our own narratives of the future that we want to see, and how we're going to live with AI as our design lead partner.
Thank you, Jay. Who would like to take on this question of mastery and the meaning of leadership?
I love that Jay said specifically leading in the execution, meaning not really not leading.
Design decisions.
100%.
Design
Yes.
decisions.
So,
What on a
yes.
screen, like I don't see like design leadership as I see work. It's collaborative, but like you said, we're going to have to get better at like the strategy, all of those things. That is leadership. So
Exactly. If we use the tool to execute the ideas that we created, then we are leading.
Can we have a bit of back and forth? So are we saying that your team members, on a day-to-day basis, you're over their shoulder telling them where to move things on the screen?
No, what we're saying is
Because
that
they're design decisions.
yes,
Yeah. So your designers are making those decisions and leading when it comes to design, craft,
craft,
and
yes.
execution, right?
Mhm.
You're saying
for
it's
me,
not about craft. It's about the
craft
thinking.
is design. And ultimately,
Only.
how many...
Craft is only design.
It's a huge part of it.
Okay.
It's a huge part of design. Leadership, yes, but how many leaders do you need? How many leaders are there, design leaders are there now in top positions globally? Very few. When the AI can shift into execution and can really optimize there, how many people do we need to lead thousands of AI models?
So if I can,
I'll give you 10 seconds because we're out of time. Go.
I think the expectation will be that we'll be delivering significantly more apps, websites, experiences. There are going to be wearables or glasses, etc. Opportunities for us to lead the design so it can execute for us. It will be exponentially higher than they are now.
Thank you so much. Can we give them a hand, please? All right. Natalie, can we fix the timer? We'll move now to your interaction. So I just have a small request. Try to ask the questions succinctly as possible. So just be brief because we have a limited time. And also for the speakers, I want to make sure you're all answering. So let's see. Yeah, can I ask you something if possible? Just Natalie, can you move around or they can? Okay, all right.
Hi. Hello. It's a wonderful discussion, and I think lots of people who are sitting here, lots of thoughts, yeah, lots of questions. So, yeah, I just observe all of this, what's happening here. It's really cool discussion, but the question I think we are considering in terms of technology, in terms of AI, but what about people? So you said that we have creativity. For example, we create AI, but it's not that we created before. There's like unknown future, unpredictable. What I see that people who is using AI is not the people who is designing or who is doing coding, but also people who is using daily. It means that they are giving...
Sorry, I'm cutting you. Can you ask the question?
Yeah, okay.
Just so...
So yeah, that means that people asking questions and AI cannot give the specific answer, but people, most of all, trying to push to answer. It means that people trying in the future to do decision making by AI. Yeah. So they're pushing this from the user behavior. So does it mean that how, in terms of this, we can create user behavior design if we are not have so much opinion because of this AI we can do decision making. We want AI do decision making for us.
All right, thank you so much. Just for the sake of time. So the question is, are we relying on AI to make our decisions in the future? That's the question?
Our decision making is changing now because of the AI. So how we can design for users, for people, if they're not doing decision making for now.
Got it.
So I think I understand what we are. Is AI going to pollute us so much that we can't make decisions? Is what I'm hearing. That's what I think I'm hearing. I have a different view on this, in the fact that actually, I'll go back to my knowledge bleed example. I think the future is going to be cognitive solutions that designers will create. They'll create memories, and designers will craft those memories around different personas. Now, we can actually already do that. And we can take, and we've just done this for a client, we've taken a copy of Chris Boss, who's a negotiator, and we've used them to train sales agents who waste all their time doing research, and we got the agent to do that. Now, they're not taking decisions away from the salesperson. What they're doing is they're having a conversation to help the salesperson reduce their latent capacity of inefficiency so that they can spend more time doing their job. And so it's not taking decision power away from them. It's actually giving them back some time and going, actually, here's what I think. What do you think? And so I think that there is always going to have to be the human in the loop, and we should never remove that. But actually, I don't think it's actually going to take decision power away, because it's going to constantly want to keep learning with the human. So that's my view on that. I don't know if anyone else has got.
Before I move here, I just throw a question, because while you're speaking, I'm like, isn't that creating the illusion that we're learning? There's a big difference if I uploaded my agent with Chris Voss's ideas, or if I actually learn them, right? But I'll leave that floating. We'll see if we come back to it. Go ahead.
I think if I understood your question correctly, is that are we changing the way we design interfaces and the experiences to accommodate for people maybe being more reluctant to making their decisions and relying on AI to give them answers for everything? What should I wear today? We're going to go on holiday, etc. Perhaps yes. And what an incredible idea. Why don't we start designing those interfaces and experiences that some people will let AI take the decisions, but maybe we can encourage AI to be like, hey, even though you suggested those 3 countries to go for holiday, why don't you, with the next answer, suggest another 3 different ones? Just creating more opportunity for people to challenge their maybe immediate validation of their idea. But loops me back to what I was saying earlier, is AI doesn't allow you for critical thinking. It doesn't really challenges any concepts. It's not trained to challenge concepts.
I'm not sure I agree, but go on.
Okay, let's see. Any other question?
Yes.
Sorry.
Let's see your question.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So my question is, what's the role of AI in the education of future designers?
Oh, wow. Very good question. So what's the role of AI in education for designers? I think, like I said, it's going to be a co-intelligence. So I think we will be learning with it. I think, the syllabus is going to change completely. I think that we need to, as designers, uphold our values, our ethics, and see this as like a mutual relationship. Not kind of, I kind of visualize if this was around when I was becoming a designer, I would want to learn how to kind of use the system to get the best outputs. What is my role in understanding humanity's needs and using this tool to then, expand on that more as like a co-intelligence rather than just relying on it, like you were saying.
Jane?
Yeah, I think in terms of education, the main way that I'm seeing it being used at the moment is people are taking screenshots and they're plugging it into ChatGPT or whatever their preferred program is and asking AI for suggestions to improve it, giving it some context and saying, where should I take this next? And if you kind of like strip that back to basics, effectively, AI has the capability of being open to thousands and thousands, millions and billions of kind of data points out there, right? So if you can program it to learn what the design best practices are, like what is considered great design, bad design, etc., you can use that for more junior designers or people just kind of starting out to kind of really kind of refine their craft a lot quicker than they did before, where they have to traditionally study and then iterate and then fail. You can kind of like skip a lot of that by getting them kind of into the kind of details a lot faster. The main downside I see from that though is that you do end up back into that world of dependence, which is what I think will end up happening, because once designers keep have that habit and that they keep kind of building up, then that's something that they'll depend on, and they'll continue using that throughout their career as well. So
Yeah, I think just to add to that, the one thing that I fear for the younger generation in the education is like the lack of the critical thinking muscle, which we had to go back and do that hard work and struggle and come across like, the failures that then turn into beautiful solutions or what have you. But I think we've had to learn that through years of critical thinking and working that muscle. And not sure how that's going to pan out.
Oh, I have a different view. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm going to go back to my edutech days where we're actually building AI to mitigate risk of people who are learning a craft and then on-the-job training. So actually, what we did with the AI was actually we allowed the students to actually complete a real-world use case, which was an actual real-world client use case. And then they could actually do the work and then get actual feedback, which was, well, this is what the client actually said based on that activity that they went through. Now, what that did for the learner was it gave them confidence to learn from their mistakes, work out, well, where are the skills gaps that I need to close the window on? And it actually got them better prepared for employability. So I see a world of simulation where the power of AI comes in, is actually, what's the craft I need to learn? And it's interesting, we touched on mastery, is I think this is what will help with mastery learning. I actually think universities need to watch out on this because they're just profit machines now, which is, come listen to someone who stands at the front who's never actually built anything in a company, and those people exist. What AI does is it says, well, here's the real world situation. Now go away and do this task, and I'll give you feedback because I've got all this information from real world implementation. And as to what Jay was saying earlier in his opening speech, we haven't even scratched the surface yet of what LLMs can do. We haven't actually baked them into business operations yet, which is where all that knowledge lives, and that world's coming. And that's going to disrupt how we learn about the craft of design, in my opinion.
This is a fantastic question, and that's why I was thinking about mastery. And I think this is a question we should be grappling with because it's going to change everything. All right, who's next? Yeah, I think that would be the last question.
God, lucky
but we
me.
still have the time in the courtyard.
First of all, thank you for being on the stage. It's always, nerve-grappling. I have a question which Leopold asked us in the beginning when we did voting, if you would be ready to change your vote. Because wouldn't you agree that you both are right? That in the future we will have actually two different worlds where the fully automated creation led by machines will be for the mass market, where everything will be adapted, personalized based on my feelings, based on my colors, based on what I like. And then there will be a completely different sector which will be made by Leopold, which will be hand-drawn, where he will use AI just purely to augment certain processes. But the start to end thinking will be done by human, and it will become like a Hermès bag. It will be very rare, which will have a massive implication of employment, obviously, how you look at the technology. But would you agree that you might be both right?
Yeah, I think we had this chat earlier. We said that.
I think we kind of, I don't want to sway the votes, but we said it would, it's a co-intelligent. We can't exist without it, and we can't also let it take over. And to your point, I don't foresee like the big brands of this world completely handing over their strategy to AI, because you could imagine if the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci did that, like it would probably be very vanilla. And everybody would kind of have a similar branding and all of that. But branding sells because it's personal, and because it has that human element, which is, why, to your point, I think it would still exist, but probably become even more powerful.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. We were saying that we think things might kind of converge on our points tonight. I think we are kind of both right in a way. I believe very strongly that when it comes to execution, as Camila clearly kind of pointed out, that when it comes to making those design decisions, like how do we kind of get there, then AI will definitely be taking that, like not a doubt. Where I get concerned is the concept of designers still leading when we're in a world where AI can actually execute so well. You no longer need a designer, right? You need someone with a great imagination, right? And there's a lot of PMs, a lot of engineers have great imaginations, but they can't actually design on the craft side of things. So I think we are going to be kind of slightly right on each side. But I do, again, like just doubling down on this whole craft point. I think that when it comes to craft, design decisions are going to get us somewhere. Then I think AI will definitely take that spot.
Yeah, we still have time for one more question. But I'm going to ask for a quick question, quick answers. Okay, so we stay on time, please.
Hey, thank you. My question is on the economics of AI and cost of it on sustainability. We did not touch the elephant in the room. How much you want to train them? How big you want to make the data center? How much electricity you want to consume to learn from that process? And where is the accuracy? When you are dealing with statistics, how much accurate you want to become? Do you want to teach it everything that you know and then tell it it's a statistics? Or you want to build an encyclopedia of data? And which most of them are rubbish, as you said, garbage in, garbage out. So please point us your viewpoint on economics of AI.
Right. I want to
just quickly.
This is what needs to be discussed in the boardroom because no one's doing it. That's my response. And it's another conversation.
Thank you.
And I think we need to find a very good leadership that's going to design solutions for all these troubling concepts. It's going to take some human part of us to really explore deeply that issue, to at what cost we are building the data centers. We are about to build the biggest data center yet in Abu Dhabi soon. We just landed this week over $1 trillion just for that, just to host data inside of this region, and just think how expensive it is considering the temperatures, etc. But it leads us to the moment when we're going to have people in the boardroom who's going to consider all these things. How are we going to go about it? It's a moral question. We're going to have to use our hearts and our opinions and morals to really fight for that argument. And even with that technology, we're not going to let us destroy the planet. We're going to use it to our advantage to make the planet better. Maybe we're going to figure out how to plant more trees faster. Hopefully.
Well, I told you in the beginning, it's going to end up with a moral dilemma. So here you go. Okay, let's give him a hand, please. So before we move to the voting, we still have 60 seconds for each speaker to convince you with a knockout. Now, that's going to be tough. I wanted to think about it, whether you want to change your mind or not. And let's start with Jay or Tim. It's up to you. You want to start, Jay?
I was still going.
Okay, Jay.
I just thought, like, well, there you go.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, you were saying you were right. No.
Well, the one thing that I always say to people is actually learn where AI can take your job away from you. And that will be it leading you. So if you can work that out, then you can then work out a plan about where do you need to go next to evolve design in yourself. And that allows you to scale.
That's short and sweet. Thank you. All right.
Agree. I just wanted to touch on a point that you said, Jay, about research and more teams like using AI for research. But there was a very interesting post by the NNN group, I think a week or two ago, and they did a study where, you know, the same kind of research was done with AI and then humans, and AI wants you to be happy, right? So it gives you all the lovely feedback. So that user journey looked amazing. There was no issues there. But when they spoke to real humans, they got the little nuances out there. They then understood what the actual problems were. And this is why I'm highlighting that we need to work together in this. Yes, of course, I use it for research every day, but I don't rely on it. I'm following up definitely with real people in the room.
Thank you so much. Jay, knock them out.
I'm just hammering on this point. Design is execution, and AI is extremely capable right now. And in the future, it's going to definitely kind of trump even our best kind of designers. So we need to really kind of double down on thinking about what are we going to do to shift and pivot, how are we going to elevate ourselves up to visionary roles, creative PM roles, where we can still be in the lead, be in charge. I think if we leave it to the AI and just leave it as an assistant, then we're all going to be kind of like taken over when it comes to craft and execution. And that's where I see design being led.
Awesome. Mila.
Again, thank you so much for this line. I genuinely don't think AI can take the creative jobs. It's not a skill that you can learn or you can teach. You're either born creative or you're not. There are the methodologies, but you will never be fully right-brained when you were born a mathematical brain. There's no way you can bridge that gap, and therefore you cannot teach it with a pattern, with that asset. And what happens next is, like what Angelique said, when we rely on data only and patterns, we miss nuance. How many times you were given as a designer in BRD and went with that BRD and developed an entire product? You would never do that. That would be a terrible design decision. There would be no design decisions because you wouldn't put your effort into really understanding the needs of what's going on in between the lines. And so creative problem solving it's a skill. It cannot be learned from data sets, but it definitely can be learned from intuition. It can be learned from emotion. And definitely it's something that is unique to human and it cannot be replicated.
Thank you so much. All right. Can we move to the voting? Let's see.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm struggling, honestly. So it's been tough. Great job. Let's see.
At the end of the day, have we all learned something?
Exactly. Well, we were discussing backstage that it's really not about who wins or loses, but it's the idea of being involved in an intellectual level. I think that's the most important thing. Okay. That's the pre-debate.
I think there's going to be a lot more people voting this round.
Wow, all right.
Show's over.
76 for against. Congrats. Awesome. Thank you so much. I wanna end with one thing that it took me a lot of time to learn. So I enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. It's been really interesting to think about the pro and cons and all of this tension. But there's one thing, I don't know if you'd agree with me, I learned from the design and the creative world. It's this. What you designs you. And I want you to think about that. It's not, in my opinion, about just designing or executing or just the intuition. It's who we become in the process when we're designing. And I'm definitely a better man today, so I want to thank everyone and give the mic to Natalie. Thank you so much.
Well, I don't know about you, but I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God, what is Mila going to say back to Jay? So I don't know, let's use the paddles. I didn't see many of you using them today. Who enjoyed this debate today? Oh, thumbs up. And look, is there any reds? It's okay if there is a red. Remember, respectable disagreement. I can handle it. Okay, well, that's great. That's really great. That's really positive. Oh, I saw red. Let's point him out. Thank you so much. But I want to thank most of all, they did an amazing job. I am really, really proud of them. This is top quality. Now, this has been going on for an hour and a half. I hope it hasn't felt like an hour and a half. But I'm already thinking ahead. What could be the next theme? And I can see that you have already started putting your thoughts down, and it looks like the winning theme is systems thinking should replace design thinking. Oh, it's still moving, but it's still ahead. So,
Yes.
is that the motion, everyone?
Yeah.
The motion is systems thinking should replace design thinking. Interesting. Yes, watch this space. Thank you again to everyone. Thank you also to Jonathan for allowing this opportunity for us to present this new concept to you. Thank you also to all the co-organizers, Nada, Chris, to Aspects, Peter, and Jack. Thank you all. And June the 12th is the next HCD meetup. So see you all there. Thank you.